off air for some reason, off air. Greg, can you stop typing for a second so that we don't have to hear you typing while we're busy working?
In my defense, I am working. I'm doing show research. I'm fine-tuning the question that I plan on presenting to Ron.
Okay,
you're
that's
welcome.
Fine. You could have done that the 15 minutes before we were on air in the prep time that we had before this.
I was too busy not doing another back in my day.
Could be a good question that took a long time.
Yeah, it could be. Thank you, Billy, for always supporting Greg in times
Billy.
of need. Greg Cote has told me again off air, not on air, that he was locked in a castle in Ireland. He got locked in.
It was his hotel.
He got into a car accident in Ireland, that his wife is a terrible backstreet driver who spent the entire time screaming at him about how he was driving. And also, he forgot his computer at the rental car place and drove 100 miles before realizing that he had forgotten it, so had to drive back in order to double. He had to Dublin back and go and get the computer.
It wasn't just his computer. It was him and his wife's passport.
Yeah, we had to go back.
He lost their passport in Ireland.
But how is it that you told me all the interesting stories? We've been on for a while now, having all sorts of technical difficulties. I could have used all the content. Why did you tell me it during the break? And then when you could have been preparing your question for Ron McGill during the break, why did you start doing that as soon as we started the segment?
You know, I take things in order. I'm not a great multitasker. I take them one at a time, that kind of thing. On the latest Greg Cote Show podcast episode, I talk a lot about my Ireland trip. I don't want to bore your listeners because, you know, we did have some calamity over there. I'm not going to pretend like we didn't, but overall it was a beautiful experience.
Did you get out of the castle?
Eventually. It took like 45 minutes of harrowing back and forth. Thank you.
Back and forth between what?
I mean,
You got to listen to the podcast.
He got locked in his hotel room.
Well, it was a castle hotel.
But he got locked
Valley Seed
in his hotel room.
That's true. I did. What can I tell you?
They had to take a pole and put keys up to the second floor.
No, not keys. That would have been too easy. Mm-hmm. They sent up a screwdriver. I had to, from the inside of my room, I had to remove the deadbolt.
Harrowing.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, eventually the King of England comes over and breaks down the door with his right foot. We got out eventually, and they comped us the room.
Wow.
So my whole ruse about being locked in worked. No, I'm just kidding.
Was there a moat?
There was not a moat.
Ooh.
No, that sort of disappointed me. But you know what there was? Ron, I don't know if you know this this breed. The Irish Wolfhound.
Oh, great dog. Big, tall, very wire-haired dog.
Very tall. It almost has the face of a lion. I'm going to have to, I'll send you a picture and you'll see what I mean. One of the most majestic animals I've ever seen. So we pull into this castle hotel, and there, standing alone, was a beautiful Irish Wolfhound just looking at my rental car. And eventually he moved, but man, what a beautiful sight that was. I want to get me one of those. I've always talked about having a greyhound or a whippet. Now my sights are on an Irish Wolfhound. But can you even get that dog in the States?
You can get any dog in the States. You got to be careful what kind of climate you keep that dog in. I've actually seen Irish Wolfhound statues at some of the big, I don't think they call them mansions in Great Britain, but some of the
manors.
The manors. There you go. The manors. I've seen actual Wolfhound statues.
I love that dog.
The front door.
Yeah. That's why I say it. They reminded me of a lion. Yeah. I tell you, it has a certain face.
Looks nothing like a lion.
You didn't see this one.
I showed the photo.
It looks like a Benji on steroids is what it looks like.
I showed a photo of my Wolfhound to the bartender at Toner's.
Really?
One of the literary pubs we went to, and without prompting, he said it looks like in an Irish brogue. It says it looks like a lion.
Were you getting an icy toner?
What's a literary pub?
You know what? They have pictures of James Joyce all over the place.
The umpire?
Double J.
No, not the umpire.
That's Jim.
A famous writer of the 19th century, or was it the 20th century?
The guy who ruined Andres Galarraga's?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's famous in Ireland, apparently.
Andres.
But
it was just...
Christ almighty, can you guys get one thing right? Between any of you,
I have a question
all of
for
you
Ron,
together.
I nailed Manor, Dan.
All of
Armando Galarraga.
Big cat.
Mostly 20th century.
Ron, I'm sorry for wasting your time. I've got some videos to show you here. I also would like at some point for people to just put up on the screen an assortment of the wonderful artistic photos that Ron McGill took in Africa, because he really is an extraordinary nature photographer. But I also want to play for you some video here. This is in California. Federal law requires people to stand 50 yards away from the sea lion, and local business leaders want sea lions kicked out here before the city closes off beach access because of encounters like this one, where the sea lion is basically just running people off. And these animals are more afraid of us than we are of them. But what's happening here? Is this just panic, Ron?
No. The problem is that these sea lions have become incredibly habituated to people. So believe it or not, they don't fear people anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys are just playing games, saying, listen, this is my beach, clear the beach. I don't see any aggression. I don't see them opening their mouths or going after anybody. I think they're almost actually enjoying the thrill of watching these foolish people run away like, little roaches when the lights go on.
What are some of the greater examples you could give us, Ron, of animals that are afraid of us, even though we think of them as that we're more afraid of them than they are of us?
A classic one would be lions. I mean, as you heard when we were out there in Southern Africa recently, the rangers told us, listen, if we stepped out of a vehicle, the lion would most likely just run away. And that's likely what would happen. A lot of these larger animals, believe it or not, are generally speaking afraid of people. That's a natural human fear from generation to generation when humans hunted everything. So the bottom line is, most animals naturally are afraid of human beings. Having said that, once they've been exposed to humans for a long time, or people start feeding them, or start basically desensitizing them to human beings, that's when they become the most dangerous.
Ron, I saw a bird last week. It wasn't a flamingo. I can't remember what it was called, but it was
Spoonbill.
also, yes, that's what it was. It was pink from eating shrimp, and we know that flamingos are also pink because they eat a lot of shrimp in their diet. If I ate enough shrimp, would I then turn pink as well?
Wow. Well, it's not just shrimp. It's a lot of different crustaceans that have what we call carotenoids in them. And those carotenoids are what give them that color. And yes, you know what, Jessica, if you ate enough carotenoids, yes, you would start getting a bit of a salmon color to your skin.
Because I tried.
But that also might be toxic because you're eating just too many of them.
Salmon color. That's funny.
Mickey?
By the way, Ron, I just texted you a photo of that wolfhound that looks like a lion.
Wow.
Tell me if I'm right.
Can you confirm?
Text to the video team?
That's a great looking wolfhound, a beautiful manner, nice ground, nice hedges.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. It's a little bit of a longer snout and kind of squished head than a lion, but the way he's sitting there, it surely looks regal like a lion. Yeah, I'll give you a pass on that one, Greg.
There you go. Thank you, Ron.
Send that to Chris, and then Chris can send it to video, and then everyone can see it.
I'm going to do it right now as we speak.
Yeah, that would be a better way to do it, so that we can, share with the audience.
Again,
it could be an immature lion that hasn't grown in his full mane yet, giving that big rounded look.
There you go.
Because immature lions have that kind of scrawny mane that wolfhound seems to have right there.
Again, Greg, could have been done during the break, during the preparation.
Dad, go to your text messages with Ron.
I'm doing it right now. Christ almighty.
Let's play the video for Ron as we just wait for Greg Cote to try to figure out, in general, his life. Let's play the video for Ron of, yes, thank you for informing us that you have now sent it to video, of this gator and in the general stupidity of a Florida man, because, of course, it's a Florida man, opening a beer with the help of a gator's mouth. Ron, what is
what is happening? What is happening to humanity here? You know what this is? This is all social media crap is what this is. This is all, let's get this on video. Let's see how many likes we can get. This is just, it's stupidity, Dan. That's all I can say about it is stupidity. And these guys think they're being cool, and they are, they're I'll tell you what, they're living proof for natural selection.
The alligator can't stick its tongue out, correct?
No, it cannot stick its tongue out.
Put it on the poll, please, at LeBatard Show. Did you know the alligator could not stick its tongue out? That was also not a dangerous enough alligator to actually be problematic, correct?
No, it was dangerous enough. I could have grabbed his hand and pulled him in the water and drowned him. No question about it, given a pretty bad wound. It's not going to consume the guy, but it certainly could have inflicted a really bad injury. And trust me, if that had happened, you know what would have happened next? The authorities would have found that gator and euthanized it because it took out a stupid guy.
I thought it was crocodiles that couldn't stick out their tongue, or is it
No,
both?
all crocodilians. They have a tongue, but it's fixed in the bottom jaw. So it can move up and down, but they can't stick it out of their mouth.
Ron, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate the time. I will remind the audience at every turn at LeBatard Show. What are you doing? What are you showing me here? What are you doing?
Speak, Dad.
It says crocodiles can't stick out their tongues.
Yeah, but he
I'm
said
doing
that
a
confirmed
show!
crocodilians.
It just said that.
Yeah.
All crocodilians.
All crocodilians,
Okay.
crocodiles and alligators.
Craig, have we lost you? Have we lost?
Crocodilians.
What is happening?
They
Have
aren't
we
called
lost you?
alligators, though, so I understand the confusion.
They should be.
We
Yeah.
have the photo now that my
wow,
dad
that's
says
a beautiful dog.
looks like a lion.
Ooh, that's a lion.
Let's
Oh
see
my
this thing that looks
God.
like a
it
lion.
does look like a
Yeah,
lion.
he
Thank
ain't
you.
lying.
I'm not wrong.
They're screwing with you.
No, they're not. That looks like a lion.
I am not. I'm being honest, and I want to get invited on that yacht, Chris. Don't blow this for me.
I'm telling you.
A reminder to take care of Ron McGill's substantive endowment. Evidently, the listeners were very strong last week for you, Ron. They raised a lot of money. Yes.
Thousands and thousands of dollars came in. Thanks to you and your listeners, Dan. I can't tell you how profoundly appreciative I am.
We are grateful because I have seen firsthand what it is that he does with that money and how it goes to people who show great care with the animals. So you can rest assured that if you donate to Ron McGill's substantive endowment, the money will get to helping people. Thank you, helping animals and helping people who help the animals. Thank you, Ron.
Have a good week, guys. Take care.
You were a disaster, that segment.
Why?
Like you were not doing the show we were doing for the many people that we do it for. You and Ron were having a personal exchange the way that you would in another room, as if microphones and cameras weren't around.
Right. Yeah, the Wolfhound, Irish Wolfhound entranced me. It did. It had me under a spell. So your listeners paid for your and Ron's trip to Africa? How does that work? Is that what happened? He said thousands and thousands of dollars were donated. It's amazing that got that kind of a scam going. I paid for my own trip to Ireland. I mean,
Unless the listeners want to donate.
Seriously, I got to GoFundMe to
You didn't pay.
recoup some of
You
my-
locked yourself in your castle and got a free night of castle.
That's just one, we were there
because
8 nights. 12.5% of my stay.
McGill's endowment also paid for that.
There you
8
go.
nights in a castle.
Okay.
Castles are surprisingly affordable.
There are a shit ton in Ireland.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to not see a castle when you just look out your window.
it's wonderful. And so many of them are like destroyed. But I think there must be like a law, like you can't knock down the remnant of an old castle or something. It's great.
They're all over Europe, too, because my in-laws were in Spain, and they'll be driving in Spain, and there's like 8 castles that are just abandoned. There's nothing there.
The reason that I say it's affordable is if you go with 12 people and you split the cost, you can handle whatever it is that you think is an unaffordable castle situation. Now, I don't know where Greg Cote was staying. Why are you shaking your head at me, Chris?
I just don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You didn't have the entire castle. I would assume it's like a regular hotel that there are a bunch of rooms.
It's a castle hotel, they call it. It's transformed.
Dan would rent out the entire hotel.
Well, it's a little bit of a boutique hotel in that I think there were 44 rooms.
And Dan would be like, they're all mine.
Very
it be
intimate.
can it be a boutique and a castle? I feel like those two things are kind of the opposite. I don't think both of those things can be the same thing, can they? A boutique is just, I understand what you're saying. It's intimate, but I also think a boutique is kind of small. A castle's never small.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Not all castles are big.
Yeah.
Really?
Enchanted Castle.
Put it on the
should
poll
be.
at LeBatard Show. White Castle at LeBatard Show.
you're
Are
talking.
all castles big?
Yeah, the mini sliders.
Love
Yes.
White Castle.
Or
Heaven,
no?
Heaven on earth.
You need to upgrade your heaven. I'm not saying White Castle's bad.
Dan, you ever had 100
Look,
White Castle
look,
burgers?
Like at 2 a.m.?
Look at
Really
me.
good.
Look at me. Do you think I can have a
Come
hundred?
on,
Yes,
you've been close to
yes,
heaven.
Yes, of course, but no, that's not heaven. Come on, you need to have a better. You need to do better on heaven if you're thinking that White Castle is heaven. Come on, a little bit better.
The best is when you have the one at your house in the microwave and you bite into it and it's still cold in the middle.
I want to cover a handful of different things from Greg Cote's vacation. How annoying was Erlene about your driving? Because I started the show this way yesterday because I'm a little bit surprised that they were able to get the power away from Joe Biden in a political climate where it seems like people are only interested in power when, as I said, I've had some trouble taking any power from my father at his age. You are about to turn 70 years old. If I were your wife, I also wouldn't trust how generally flippant and reckless you are about thinking that your judgment is better than it is.
Yeah, it's good judgment.
It's not good judgment. It's not. And I don't blame her for not trusting you driving, and you wrecked a rental car.
I'm a good bad driver.
Yeah.
In other words, you violently scrape a stone wall, and yet you don't lose control. You never have the feeling that you're going to swerve. You're not going to hit anybody head on. You're not going to rebound back into the wall. You're going to go about your merry way. Balling the jack to Galway is a beautiful thing. Eventually, we pull over and we look at the damage. My wife's shaking her head like a bobblehead the whole time.
They usually go up and down. I guess
No,
they can go
from side to side.
So you sideswiped a wall and you just kept driving?
Yeah, there's the famine wall.
That's the one?
Well, that wasn't the exact one. Most of them aren't that big. People know from history the story behind the famine wall, right? In the potato famine of the 1840s, which caused 5 million Irish people to move to the United States. The ones that didn't move were left behind in poverty to earn pennies a day by creating all of these jagged, ragged stone walls that line the countryside of Ireland. And the problem is they're all right next to narrow roads. And so, if somebody swerves to avoid a head-on collision, you literally have to scrape a famine wall.
Is that what happened to you?
That's exactly what happened to me.
Someone swerved at you, or you just hit the wall?
I just hit the wall. It seemed like they were swerving.
There's a potato famine monument in New York City in Battery Park. If you're in New York, you can go check it out and see what Greg's talking about.
Yep.
It is a monument to people that died during the potato famine, and they have a whole wall constructed with native plants to Ireland. It's very interesting.
And Ireland now, as a nation, is obsessed with potatoes. Like
Aren't we all?
on every menu, you see some sort of a featured potato dish.
I think there should be potatoes on every
Can that
menu.
be my heaven on earth?
If I were running a political campaign, I'd put potatoes on every menu.
Yeah. Potato. All right.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Greg,
As
Greg,
my Nana, Nellie Doogie, used to say, she didn't pronounce it potato. For some reason, she said potato. And that's always stuck with me.
Chris, I'm a little worried, okay? Because today has been amazing for a number of different reasons. But one of them is your father underestimates how hard it is to get back on this. His stamina's gone. He's gone. He's not with us anymore. He's not making sense. It's like badeda. And he's just tired.
Exactly.
And he's gonna reel into traffic at the end of this because we're taking advantage of an old man. And
Potato.
He's a writer, Dan.
Thank you, Billy.
you're feeling this, Chris, right? The fact that your dad, 1 out of every 6 or 7 things he's saying isn't meant for air, isn't with him remembering he's on air. It's taking advantage of an old person.
I was cooking with him. I was right there with him up until the bodega. Then I got really
It just
annoyed.
reminded me, you know,
Bodega.
fond memory of my Nana, Nellie Doogie.
Oh, Nelly?
Yeah.
Mine's a beautiful thing, huh? How sometimes it just brings back memories and you never know when they're
Yes.
going to come and go.
Yes, she was the one. I've also mentioned she cooked in 100-year-old oil. She never threw out oil.
Ugh.
Might have been lard. Lard was big back then.
Yeah.
But she never, you know, if you
Goose
ate,
fat. That's what my great aunt cooked with.
there you go. Yeah, but you know, you can strain that. You can cook 100-year-old oil. I never do that. Like, oil costs more than the turkey, right? So I deep fry a turkey. I spend $50, $60 on oil. You use it once, then you throw it out. The bird costs a third of that.
Where do you
It's crazy.
throw oil?
That's a good question.
I want to get back to
Down the sink.
Yeah.
You do it every year. Where do you? I'm asking you.
Down the sink, down toilets.
You can't put it down any of those
Ooh,
things.
you got
know.
a fat bird
See,
brewing down there.
I disagree with that though. Okay, and
Do
here's
you?
why. It cleans the gullet of the toilet.
Not sure if that's true.
I believe it does. It's always worked for me.
Let's look it
I
up.
don't have stuffed up toilets.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju at LeBatard Show. Does hot oil clean the gullet of the toilet?
No, it's cold by then.
Yeah, we have to do
You
it
let it cool off.
responsibly.
Right.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah, you have to.
used cooking oil
Right.
clean.
Does hot used
Not
cooking
hot.
oil clean the gullet of the toilet?
Earl does. That's
What
for sure.
What happened to Nellie's oil?
When she died?
Yeah.
I don't know. That she died around the time I barely remember her, to be honest, because she died around the time of Beatlemania, like 64, 65.
So you just forgot
Chris-
everything about
Chris-
Nellie
He was
because of the
distracted.
Beatles?
She died of diabetes, but back then they all called it sugar diabetes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, my Grammy called it the sugars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Mine called it sugar diabetes.
I'm learning a lot today.
To this day, if I'm referring to diabetes in front of your mother, I say the phrase sugar diabetes because it drives her nuts. She corrects me every single time.
I would love to
It's
go
not
on
sugar
vacation with you
diabetes.
two.
Crazy time, huh? Beatlemania, the sugars, the potato famine. A lot going on in the world.
Yankee. Yeah.
Your wife was pretty frustrated with you on this trip. I can't imagine her getting concentrated old man bickering, Cote, forgetting the passports, having to drive on like
That was so annoying.
She actually took a victory lap on how she handled him losing the passport. She's like, I handled that well.
Well,
you drove 100 miles before realizing, like just through countryside.
Yes, it
This is
was-
before or after you've gotten into the accident, and before or after you've locked yourself in the castle.
before both. But I'm going to tell you this, and I tried to explain this to her. I had to be very, very careful. Anybody in a relationship knows it. If you're telling your partner something that might not hit the right way, you got to be very, very careful.
How did you say it?
I explained to her that there's a little bit of a pie chart going on here in terms of whose responsibility it was.
Blamed her for.
No. What I
pie
said.
chart.
What I said was, it's my briefcase. It's totally on me that I left it in the rental car we had to turn back in. On the other hand, you might have said, "You sure? Where's your brief? Are you sure you got the briefcase? Did you check that? I'm
Yeah.
going to look back." And she didn't do that. So yes, it's my fault, but you know, a little slice of the pie.
Pie chart.
What's it
know.
reading? The pie chart, Greg. What's it reading?
I'm going to take 80-20.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
You travel with a briefcase, huh?
Well, it's not a briefcase. I say briefcase. It's one of those. There it is, right there. It's one of those satchels.
That helps the audience.
You know.
Yeah,
There it
I
is
couldn't
right
quite
there.
see
Yeah, lift it up. Lift it up.
Yeah.
It's next to his shoe.
Grabbing the
He's
bag
getting
now.
the bag now.
Yeah, your father's.
briefcase.
It's like a laptop bag.
I think it's like a
It's
briefcase.
a laptop bag. That's exactly what it
It's a
is.
businessman's case.
Let me rewind.
Laptop bag. What?
Let me rewind to Greg Cote returning from a trip and deciding that very evening, I'm going to honor the country I've just been in by cooking a dish from that country. I want to go back to that particular bit of wonderful. How long have you been doing that? And what is the lamest, cheapest shortcut version of that you have done that hasn't been to celebrate the country and it's just because you have to adhere to the particulars of, I do this every time I return from a trip, so I'm going to just fart out an Irish stew?
Oh, it took me all afternoon to make. First of all, just harvesting the meat takes a while. I bought like a big 4-pound.
We don't need the
chuck
recipe.
roast.
He's asking other examples of you doing
Oh.
this.
You know,
Can we do a recipe
So what
of
I
the
do
day?
is I let it marinate. It's like, what? I
no.
didn't ask you that.
By harvesting the meat, you got to cut off the fat.
Yeah.
And that's tough. You know, it's a combination of knife work, kitchen shears.
Other examples.
When I came back from Barcelona,
Oh.
Barcelona,
Thank you.
I had to make a pizza with pineapple on it, only because that's what I tasted over there when I
Yeah,
was there
he's
for
right.
the Olympics.
Wait a minute.
Known Spanish
That's
delicacy.
That's
The
not
Olympics,
Spanish.
early
I thought he was going to
90s.
say paella. Wait a minute.
Pineapple
though.
on pizza.
But I don't think the
on a
pineapple
second.
pizza is a Spanish
Let's hear him
dish.
out.
I had by the way, I came home from Rome and made paella.
There you
I had
go.
an Italian paella.
When in Rome.
That's right. In Barcelona, I
Had a Hawaiian pizza. So he
I
came
had a
back
Hawaiian,
and exactly right.
and I don't make many pizzas from scratch. By the way, that's difficult. I admire the pizza flippers.
That's not a Spanish dish. The pizza with pineapples on
but
it.
he had
How-
it in Spain.
I had it
I do
in
that every
Spain.
Friday here.
But he had it in Spain. You guys, what are
Yeah.
you guys not getting?
Exactly.
Making a pizza from scratch sometimes more expensive than just buying a pizza.
It is.
But you have that sense of accomplishment
I know.
afterwards.
It's-
Often tastes like crap, but you have that sense
Yeah,
of
you do.
accomplishment. Yeah.
I keep meaning to buy myself a pizza oven, but I haven't done it yet.
that would be a great 70th birthday present for
It
him,
would.
Dan.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, the first Hawaiian pizza was in Canada.
There you go.
It's not a Spanish
Not
dish.
Barcelona.
I don't understand.
If I eat it in Spain, it's a Spanish dish.
That's right.
That's not
Yes.
true
If
at
you're
all.
drunk at a bar
Absolutely
in Spain and you end up at some pizza shop that has pineapple, oh, look, I'm in
Yeah.
Barcelona. Like that's just you just got a piece of pizza.
I don't
know.
understand. Okay, not the answer I was expecting in my question, but I've got many questions about your vacation. How much of a backseat driver was Erlene, and how mad was she about the fact that you wrecked a rental car?
Yeah, very. Keep in mind, I'm driving on the wrong side of the car on the wrong side of the road. So I'm not used to it's really discombobulating me. It took days to adjust to the fact that I'm doing the opposite of what we get in the States. My whole driving career, I've never driven a car in Europe until this trip. And so it was an adjustment. And so I want to hug the left side so that I don't head on somebody. And my wife must have said 1,000 times, Greg, move over. You're about to hit a wall. You're about to hit a curb. Greg, move over, move over. And it's just so annoying. And I only hit one wall.
You were her.
I drove for 8 days. I hit one wall.
Fairness, one wall.
That's pretty good.
How many did you pass?
Hundreds.
Exactly. There you go.
Thank you.
Not even 1%.
Now, I hit a bunch of bushes, though. They have a wall of bushes. And so, yeah, and you're driving and you hear the car go thwap, 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 thwap. Because it's hitting all these bushes.
Didn't you clip something in a parking garage too?
Yeah, we had a minor mishap in a parking garage.
Minor.
You have to drive a Fiat to park in the parking garages in Ireland. They're 6 feet wide. I'm driving an SUV. I have zero chance.
Well, there's your problem. You rented a SUV to drive in a country.
My wife and trip organizer does that for me.
Well, pie chart.
80-20.
That
80-20.
seems
Might
higher
have to
than
take Greg's
80-20.
side on that
Well, she
one.
did rent that.
There you go.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't her fault that the first we got a lemon and we had to go back for it, which caused all the satchel incident.
Really?
But-
Is that so?
Yeah.
On the pie chart of blame, I will, for those of you who do not listen all the time, I will remind you that Greg Cote, an adult human being, has blamed his wife for not telling him it was cold outside when he wandered out into the cold and could have seen for himself. He
She had been out.
expects his wife to take care of him the way that a mother would take care of a fetus, not a toddler. A fetus. She doesn't trust him with driving for very good reason. He is an old man and his judgment is getting worse and worse, and he thinks it's the same or better. We just got done telling you the story of he locked himself inside of a castle and got into at least 2 accidents and hit a lot of shrubs and is wondering why his wife is telling him 1,000 times, Greg, you're not in the middle of the road. You need to get out of the middle of the road.
Is it possible the castle is also not entirely his fault?
He was sent to
Yes, that's why they comped our room. There was some, aberration in the lock that prevented me from unlocking my own deadbolt. I'm unscrewing it, doing the work of the maintenance crew. I'm unscrewing my own deadlock or deadblock,
You got it.
Neither.
whatever it's called, deadlock.
Yes, he's falling apart, as I said. He's having a lot of trouble with just speech, thought, and knowing where
Right.
he is. But, Chris, this part I'm serious about. My father is 10 years older. The last time I drove with my father anywhere was a few years ago. It was Christmas Eve night, Noche Buena. I got in the back seat of a car on a night. This was several years ago, and I'm like, my father shouldn't be driving anymore. I was in the back seat, and I'm like, this is deeply unsafe. What is happening right now? And it's the last time I got in a car with him, and I've been trying to get him a driver since, and it doesn't work. It's absolutely not. You're not. No, I will not. Your father is in worse general shape than my father. He's 10 years younger, but it's been a battering. The Greg Cote experience has been to this vessel of a body for a long time. You're going to have such a hard time, and your mom is going to have such a hard time getting those keys away from him because he thinks this is an aberration, and all it is the beginning. It's the
things.
beginning of this.
2 things. Number 1, I'll take a driver if you're buying. Number 2, this is going to sound like I'm bragging. I'm going to outdrive everybody in these 2 rooms.
Really?
Okay?
What's your BMI?
I'm a daily driver. Okay, I'm a daily
wow.
driver, and I haven't had a speeding ticket, just as an example, in who knows how long. Years, plural.
You came back from vacation where you were just hitting shrubs, walls, and things in parking
But he was
garages.
driving
But
in
at
reverse,
the
essentially.
speed limit,
Yeah,
too.
exactly. He didn't get a ticket.
Yeah.
In Greg's offense, he didn't get a ticket.
Right.
Greg, Lehman and
right.
I actually have a system when we're in a place where you have to drive on the left, which is the person in the passenger seat points to the lane that you're turning into, because if you say right left and you
Yeah.
get confused, and then if you're making a left, it's like a close left and not
Yep.
like a far left, like if you're on the right side of the road. So we point to which lane you're turning into.
Yeah, and another thing was everything in kilometers over there, of course. So all of a sudden you're going 100. You see a sign that says the speed limit's 140, and so mentally you're like, I can't go. I don't want to go that fast. When in fact that's probably what 80 or whatever the thing is. But fabulous trip, despite all the harrowing.
How was the food?
I would love to go
Awful.
with you next time.
Yeah, we'll bring you along, Jess.
Awful? The food was awful?
It was really bad. It was so mediocre. And everything on the menu is like, beef and Guinness and fish and chips and potatoes, and,
No shepherd's pie?
There were a couple of topped beef and Guinnesses with the topping.
Why
on it,
would you
yeah.
feel the need to remember the land you came from with your culinary respect if the food was awful?
I wanted to outdo the Irish at their own dish.
And he said he did. As he's eating it, he's like, this is better than what I had.
Well, listen, your wife, who's hard to please.
Whoa.
and a little shy with her compliments. Whoa. What did Christy say about my...
She said it was good.
She
did.
said it was good multiple times.
That's actually hilarious because she is critical of your food. Like there are times we leave and she's like, not his best work.
I know.
Really?
Believe me.
I still have Chris's top 5 from the sex therapist here.
Didn't she not like shrimp?
No, she hated my shrimp.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
She's allergic to shellfish.
Yeah, she can get over that.
Yeah.
If you've had my shrimp,
Exactly
you're
right.
going to forget the allergy because it tastes so good.
She's never tried Greg's shrimp.
That's right.
I thought the food in Ireland was great. Where were
Did you really?
eating? I did. It was phenomenal.
I had the worst steak I've ever had at the Castle Hotel restaurant.
You don't eat at the hotel restaurant. That's just...
Well, this
Not even if it's a castle?
yeah. It was a
Where
beautiful...
else are you going to go?
It was a beautiful restaurant, and they had a nice menu. I ordered a filet. You shouldn't screw up a filet, okay? You give it a nice, crusty, hard sear on the outside, and a beautiful medium on the inside, at most, maybe medium shading to medium rare. It was tough. They overcooked it like crazy. In my own country, I'm going to turn that back, Jack. But in Ireland, I played the polite. I didn't want to be the ugly American. I ate it. Now, later at the Shelbourne, one of the great hotels.
Does anyone else
in
hear that
Ireland.
car alarm? As our functions around here continue to fail on the
don't
doing
hear
of
it.
this show,
Chris hit the car alarm button. That's why I didn't.
Only half of you hear it.
I've been hearing a car alarm for 2.5 hours, for 2.5 straight
Stop
hours.
talking for a second so everyone can hear it.
Terrible for the podcast. No one can hear
I don't
it.
hear it.
I mean, we hear it. The audience might
Greg,
hear
do
it.
you
Continue
hear it?
your story, Greg. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No. That reminds me of the latest Greg Cote Show podcast episode where Christopher his lawn is being cut as we're recording. So the entire time we're recording, Chris Cote's lawnmower is going in the backyard.
You got a lawn guy, Chris?
I do.
Wow.
You think he's going to cut his own lawn? He didn't know which end of the lawnmower to hold.
That's not true.
So back to the Shelbourne.
The Shelbourne is one of the great hotels in Dublin. In fact, we I forget how it was. Might have been mentioned on the podcast, and I get a text from Dave Barry saying, "Yeah, we stayed there. Beautiful hotel. They served me one of the great fillets I've ever had in my life. Okay, so you can do it, Ireland, but you just got to be more consistent. My only complaint about Irish food is that it's a lot of the same. The menus all sort of read the same, unless you're at a upscale restaurant, and then they know how to do it.
Well, you
That's
never
a
got that
fine.
authentic
I didn't hear the
Irish
phone go off.
pizza, I
That's a
guess.
fine
What
because
happened?
of the sound your phone just made. You owe
That's
five.
not my phone.
Yeah, it is your phone.
Oh yeah, you're right.
You owe $5. Before we end the segment, Jessica, I meant to ask you something that I'd forgotten to ask you about because Lucy last week, and you guys can vouch for this, Lucy and Jessica have become very good friends in a way that allows Jessica the great comfort of leaving Willow behind with a friend and so that she can go places. But Lucy was having a hard time with Willow because Willow, what kind? You just
Pay a fine with a euro?
Yeah.
you can't pay the fine with European money that makes Jessica go convert it at the
Take it.
It's worth more, Dan.
It's $10. What is this worth now? Is it worth $5?
Isn't it? Is it close to 1-to-1 now? Isn't it?
I
Greg?
think it's pretty
You were
close
just
to
there.
1-to-1.
All right. But Jessica, are you aware that Willow was dragging Lucy to ice cream shops and sitting in front of them, and Lucy was unable to move her in any way?
Yeah, I heard about this. I feel terrible about it. Willow does have a little bit of a bully streak in her. She can judge character very well. She can tell if someone's going to be too nice to her and if she can get away with getting a pup cup. And for some reason, she knows that the ice cream places have pup cups. She's never been to this ice cream place before, but she dragged Lucy there every day. And I feel very bad about it.
She didn't respect Lucy. She could spot that Lucy was a pushover.
She doesn't respect me either, for what it's worth. She
That's
will
not true.
constantly hump my leg when we're home.
Okay, well, that's disrespectful, but she wouldn't have done that to you. You wouldn't have trouble pulling Willow if you were trying to pull Willow.
That's true. I would just drag her down the street. She doesn't. I mean, I wouldn't really do that because dog owners are listening to this now, and they're going to be like, "You're a bad dog owner," which is not true. But I did feel bad because when I came home, I was like, "How was Willow?" And Lucy was like, "Well, she could tell that she didn't respect me very much, and it didn't get better throughout the week, and I feel bad."
Lucy's got to get better at that. You shouldn't feel bad. Lucy's got to do. It is the dog caretaker's job to make sure that the dog behaves. The dog wants to behave.
The dog behaves so well with Lehman. The dog loves Lehman. Anything
Kids
Lehman
are the same
says,
way. My wife says the same thing about my daughter, that she does well for me, but when it's just with her,
Yeah.
that she turns into this.
I'm not tough enough on her, and I know I need to get better. I need to put some bass in my voice and tell her, "Bae."
Yeah, Lucy should have been taught the bay call because I guarantee you that's a beautiful trainer. That's Willow, right? Mm-hmm. That's a handsome dog. You go, "Bay," and they're going to do that thing where the ears go out a little bit and the head cocks.
Maybe the head
That's
tilt.
what you want, because that's the dog listening to you when the head cocks like that. Bay.
Under the circumstances, I will say, with Stugotz sabotaging us from beyond and Greg Cote sabotaging us while sitting in Stugotz's chair, under the circumstances, we have slapped together a show that talked a little too much, but ignored Heat Summer League championships with Jeremy and Mike Ryan not here to the reprieve of the audience. But Greg Cote just got done harumphing under his breath after many years doing this. He'd forgotten about the stamina it takes to get back in the chair when you've had a month off, and he doesn't know where he's been, by his own admission, for about the last 70 minutes. He's been disoriented. He's throwing a bodega over here,
Potato.
and he's
Hitting shrubs over there.
It's a fine.
Gave me €10.
But he does it. What is happening, Chris? Let's examine for just a moment. There have been a lot of obstacles around. Microphones breaking, car alarms going off, video falling apart. Stuff's happened that has caused chaos around here today, and we've slapped something together. But also, your father, there have been times I feel like that he's not remembering he's on air. Like he's just like, "Hey, Ron, I'll send you a text," the way you would if you were leaving the office, just sort of forgetting that he's performing in front of a lot of people.
Yeah, that bag over there. Like stuff like that.
Well, the video, no, look, your father's never going to get the part that this is now a video production as well, and he's never going to get the part. I'd prefer, actually, that your father only think of this as an audio product and we stop.
Should be.
Yeah, I'm fine with that portion of it. But it's when he doesn't know that he's on video or audio and just sort of forgets that he needs to come up with a sentence of thought.
If he knew he's on audio, you know to give more context. Like, that's him not knowing he's on audio. He just thinks he's only on video. He's the worst.
It's strange that your father, after this many years doing this, approaches 70 years old and lacks some of the general fundamentals of remembering when he's broadcasting.
Well, that's a different thing, though, because, you go from newspapering to radio, and
to a nap.
And the original incarnation of the podcast was an audio only. And so now the video element, it's confusing.
But you're in a studio with a lot of lights, and we're clearly all in front of microphones performing something.
But Dan, you do get rusty, and also you forget sometimes how bright the lights are. They hurt your head a little bit. Like I can barely look up right now without. I feel this migraine coming on. I know Greg probably feels the same way.
Very, very bright. Unnecessarily bright.
All right, let's turn off all the lights, guys, if you can.
They're kind of necessary.
Do you think you'd be better?
Let's make them comfortable.
Do you think? Okay, let's turn it off. Let's see if it gets any better here. Just let's see how this goes.
All right. Baby, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, let my boy cook.
yeah.
Go ahead, Dad.
All right, no, I mean this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I'm walking into my bedroom closet.
Whoa.
I'm surrounded by. You remember the first podcast I ever did
from
with the
your
Greg
closet,
Cote Show was in my closet. Because back then I thought all of the sound would have a great sound room by doing it among all my closet. My wife's clothes take up literally 70% of that closet.
Pie
which is
chart, yeah.
70-30,
always been unfair. But anyway, I love it in here right now. This is how it should be.
Yeah.
It's
how it used to be
I have a
before.
ghostly quality there as well, which is perfect.
Ooh, a scary story. You got any?
No, hell no.
Way
I
to
don't
play the
think-
improv game.
I don't tell scary stories.
Nah.
My life is a scary story, believe me. Oh, I like that. The silhouette. Look at Dan. Wow. Look at him.
Can you see my wrath in the
No.
silhouette?
He
Can
looks
you
thin.
see?
He looks thin.
Can you see
And
how
dark.
much rage is in my face in the silhouette?
That
as,
is thinning.
the general darkness of concealing all of me.
Right. Let me look dark. Why can't I do that?
Well, your laptop's giving you light.
Your
Why don't you
laptop
close
light.
that? Yeah, close
Hang
that
on,
up a
hang
little
on
bit.
just a second.
Yeah, hold on.
There.
But now you got to
go.
move in front of the screen so that you can see your
That's-
profile. Yeah,
I
or
do
maybe
that?
switch camera
I think-
shots. Yeah, from the side or something. Hold on.
Yeah,
a
I
second.
got this.
Just
Oh,
go-
wait.
There you go.
Right, okay.
There it is. Oh,
There you go.
Hitchcockian.
Now that's television. Or YouTube, whatever the hell we're on. What
I can't tell
What
if-
channel is this? Channel 4, 7, or 10?
Usually I can read how this is going based off Dan's face, and I can't see it right now. So I don't know if he's like enjoying this or he's crying. I don't know what Dan's doing.
Let's
right
keep
now.
it that way.
I like it. This is much easier on the eyes.
It
I feel
sure
I feel
is.
good right now.
Yeah, it's invigorating.
Yeah.
Greg, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When you go on vacation, I assume that you're like me. You're not responding to emails and work texts while you're gone. When you get back, how long will you push it before you start replying to people that you need to talk to who tried to message you during your break?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm still not getting email on my new phone. I got to get that taken care of.
Oh, no.
But the texts kept coming. I'll give them a glance. I mean, I look at the texts every day, that kind of thing. But I don't answer all of them. The work-related texts, they know better than to text me. Hugo from Mango calls me, texts me, about the deadline on the back of my days and everything. So we get back to him. But for the most part, man, when I'm on vacation, I am on vacation. Okay, I'm doing it up. I'm leaving work behind.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for dimly lit places like this, which is another reason it's beautiful. It reminds me of vacation.
Can you turn the light towards Dan a little so I can get a read on him? Because I'm terrified right now.
Do you come back reinvigorated, Greg?
I do, but
Yeah.
you know what, Billy? I've never been on a vacation that I wasn't glad ended.
Really?
Yeah, it's true. Especially the longer the vacation. Like if I'm away for 7, 8 days, by that 6th or 7th day, I'm looking at the watch I never wear, symbolically to say I'm done. We've had a good time. I'm ready to get back into my routine. I'm a creature of habit. I'm a creature of routine.
Do you miss your bed? Like you miss your bed
I
at
do.
home?
Yeah, I do.
Do you miss Chris?
Yeah, somewhat.
He misses bed. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
Jumpin'
do.
Charlie?
Jumpin' Charlie, I miss.
What was old JC up to?
We bored him.
Oh.
No, wow.
while we're
That is
gone.
they send him to like a some lady's house.
Right.
It's like the best. He's like, I get pictures from my mom all the time. Like, look how much fun Charlie's having.
Oh my God!
I can only
Charlie's on
imagine how
vacation.
much they charge you for that.
It's it's a fair amount of
You
money.
come back and he's like,
You know what? He exerts himself so much on his vacation at this woman's house that he's like a zombie for the first couple of days he comes back. But when I saw a picture of Willow on that picnic table, it warmed my heart because dogs love to jump on top of picnic tables,
they
don't
really
they?
do. Yes, she loves to sit on a table, and we're like, get off! Like this is unhygienic.
And Charlie
She
does
doesn't
that, and the woman who's hosting him always texts us photos of Charlie at play.
It's
and
so
everything.
funny because my mom is always like, she loves Charlie so much. And I'm like, Mom, she tells everybody that she loves their dog.
No. Right.
Like
You're
as if this
paying
lady,
her.
No.
this lady that's charging $2,000 for the weekend is going to be like, your dog's a real piece of.
She is kind though.
My mom's like, no, she likes her the best. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm like, Mom.
Well, Charlie has such a beautiful disposition.
Yeah.
She really is. That's why you can't
He.
stay angry at her. Him, whatever. Charlie is a name that can work both ways.
Yeah, but
Dan, just say something.
Didn't there used to be a
This is terrifying.
perfume called Charlie?
I think so. Let me look
Huh.
it up.
Yeah, I think there was.
Brought summer.
Aimed at women, if I remember correctly. Is Dan awake?
I had a dog named Charlie once.
Did you?
Yeah.
I
He bit
heard.
me.
I heard that is the most popular dog's name, and it
Really?
shocked me. Yeah, it shocked me.
Huh.
I don't almost
Really
don't believe it.
unoriginal, Greg.
Well, I named my kids Christopher and Michael. I mean, how original are we? You know?
Revlon makes a Charlie Blue for women.
Hello, that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Oh, Greg, I missed you.
Thank you, Jess. I missed you too. We'll take you next time we go to Ireland.
I was gonna say that. Let's go together.
She
Let's all
invited
go
to
together.
she
It'd be
invited to the
great.
birthday or
I think that's a pretty good chance.
This
of
is
that.
a new and improved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
I may have gotten slightly carried away in allowing Greg Cote to feed his every narcissism and being able to talk about his vacation for as long as we allowed it there, because Greg Cote finds no subject more interesting than Greg Cote, than being able to talk about Greg Cote, no matter how mundane the details. The Greg Cote Show featuring Greg Cote is a very popular podcast, made popular at least in part because of his endless river of oddities that he celebrates and shares with us on Tuesdays. There are a handful of things we have not gotten to yet today that Greg Cote wanted to get to. One of them is he's objecting to an ESPN Top 100 list. Summer is not complete if there's not someone somewhere complaining about someone's list. And so, Greg Cote, what is this Top 100 complaint that you have? Whose list is it? Is it McAfee's list? Is it somebody else at ESPN?
It's ESPN's list. Man, they love rankings, ESPN. And they rank the top 100 professional athletes of this century since 2000. And due respect to Michael Phelps.
Oh, boy.
One of the great swimmers of all time. They had him number one on the list. And I'm just wondering aloud, can you be the number one professional athlete of your century when people only give a shit about you 2 weeks once every 4 years? Again, if you're an Olympian, great. I mean, I have, Simone Biles, fantastic. Katie Ledecky, love all of these wonderful Olympians. But as LeBron James proves, you can have a full-time job in basketball and still.
Jessica's
be an
horrified
Olympian.
by you right now. First of all,
That was like insanely harsh, but like out of nowhere.
bit harsh. Yeah.
Again, I preface it by saying all due respect to Michael Phelps.
Respectfully.
True.
Exactly. And I'm just thinking aloud here, and I think that's true. Whether it's Usain Bolt used to be this person in track and field, we care intensely 2 weeks every 4 years about track and field. Okay, so
but they have to work all 4 years.
Yes, they do.
For the pressure of having to be at their best those 2 weeks, which is supposed to be the epicenter of all the things you love as a writer about sports, that the
Right.
pressure would be ratcheted up to 4 years of stakes in these 2 minutes.
And I do respect that, and that's why I love the Olympics, because I give a shit about sports that I normally don't give a shit
For
about.
2 weeks, but it's
Right.
2 weeks of shit giving.
Yeah,
that's
like
that's your
archery,
limit. Yes,
you know,
yes,
that kind of thing.
That's
I
right.
mean,
That's
fun archery.
But you're only capable of like 17 days of giving shits,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I'm all out of shits to give.
Well, here's the thing about the
Usain
Olympics.
Bolt, number 9 on this list, by the
Okay,
way.
and more power to him.
What do you mean more power to him?
All
The
due
thing-
respect.
The thing
He's
about
ahead
the,
of Kobe. Kobe's number 10.
the thing about the Olympics is this: too many oddball sports now. Okay, now breakdancing. Although they call it breaking, which is ridiculous. What are we in a car? It's a breaking contest. I'm in a car.
That's not how it's
It's
spelled.
called breaking.
We should have a breaking contest.
But it's breakdancing. Come on. I'm just getting used to skateboarding. You know, anybody over the age of 21 on a skateboard.
Tony,
I mean,
he's
it's
doing some of
ridiculous.
his best cat skills material right here.
This is skateboarding, huh?
I got some Olympic stuff for you here at the end. you know?
Archery. What's this, Robin Hood?
I mean,
Oh, my
seriously.
God.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Breakdancing.
Little lounge act in the Catskills going to perform 3 weeks only for
Ladies
your
and germs.
grandparents. For your grandparents. Before we get out of here, what has happened in the other room, Chris Cote, with the outbreak of inter-office conversation and conflict around the conversation that Greg Cote doesn't know who to invite here to his 70th birthday party on a yacht with an open bar. It will not be everyone here. And evidently something happened. I'm only catching pieces of this wedding controversy in the other room, wedding invitation that was triggered by that conversation.
In the same vein of invitations, where we're making fun of my dad for first he was limiting a list, and now he's going to kind of invite more people. Danny GQ, our video guy, whose head's been spinning all morning because of all the technical issues around here, our Zoom issues, audio, whatever.
He doesn't. He looks deeply unhappy today.
Yes.
There are a lot of things. That
At one
gone
point, I
wrong
just heard
today.
him say, "What the fuck is going on?" Whoa. Yeah, I mean,
He doesn't speak like that very much.
Right,
But
it was
it
just
felt
like-
today felt haunted.
Right. He was-
Haunted by.
another thing happened. He's like, "Wait, another thing happened?" Well, we've had days without issues, and like 3 things happened today. So he's not having a day. But anyway, he just got engaged. Congratulations, Danny GQ.
Oh, and Tony, congratulations
Oh, he's
to
having a
you,
girl.
by the
Thank you,
way.
guys. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Can't make a boy in this
You
room.
just
Thank
got
you.
engaged.
9 girls, if you count Willow, in the shipping container.
Why wouldn't you count Willow?
No, I'm just.
Oh.
I'm
Dan
just-
called it.
We can't make a boy. It's crazy. But anyways, GQ, his way, the exact opposite of my dad, worrying about who am I going to invite? I can't invite this person. He just basically slapped a save the date on our fridge and said out loud into the office, "Anyone who wants to go to my wedding, let me know, and I'll send you an invite." And it was just like, I saw Rose in Slack. She's like, "I'll go." And it's just like, okay. I guess like, I just thought that was an interesting way to kind of invite everyone while not inviting everyone all at the same time.
Very efficient.
He cupped his hands together. "Anyone that wants to come to my wedding, just let me know."
And then you can say you invited everybody. You can say that you can leave here. We can announce. You can do that same thing here, and you can have it that way. Where
I don't think that's going to happen.
Dad, you could do it with your party.
The difference is Danny GQ likes all of us.
I have to check with my wife and party organizer. I don't make any autonomous decisions. I'm a team player. You know,
this is going to be a problem. You guys do realize this, right? People are going to get their feelings hurt.
Sure. It could be. The same with the Miami Herald. I mean, blankety blank isn't getting invited.
Oh, no.
Sorry about that.
What about Dave Hyde?
Barry Jackson?
Dave Hyde?
Okay.
Barry Jackson.
I'm not.
I gotta take a quiz.
Come on.
Skateboards.